Tell me, are you ready to find your weird way? Weird was a concept that was spoken of long ago. It meant fate, it meant destiny, it meant your path in life. I'm your host, Dean Bentley, and I am here to explore how you can connect to your own path in life, to know the essence of your own soul, to connect to that single spark that lives within the deepest recesses of your being that says, this is why I am here, to go beyond the limitations, the constrictions of the modern world, and open you to the possibilities and the potentiality of what is possible within this world. Join me as we dive deep on the weird way. Welcome back to another episode of the Weird Way. This one is a bit of a different one. Just for context, I'm recording this out of my car right now, and it is interesting in that fact. The setup looks fun, and I'm just experimenting with the possibilities here. So, if the audio quality isn't as good, please forgive me. Um, I like to give you a bit of an idea of what's happening in this world, so you get a background information of what's happening here on the Weird Way. I've done this up. I couldn't record where I normally do, and I couldn't find a park that was quiet, which was my original plan. So I'm doing this as a bit of an experiment. And to just see the possibilities with this podcast because there's some travel planned in the future, and I really want to do that and continue this trend of recording every week. So this for me is a little bit of a play, and it really brings me into the podcast here today because what one of the things that has been really obvious to me is the amount of control that is uh, in this world right now, whether that's my own need to control myself and the things around me and get everything right and just try and make it a certain way, or the control that I see so many people try and control their own worlds in very similar way. And I really want to unpack this in a deeper way because there's a lot around when people come to do the work, where we're doing the work in a way that has the underlying foundations of control, of domination, of disconnect. And what I'm really speaking here is a lot of what the Western world is built upon is a very colonial mindset. It's a very dominational force. It's like go out there, hustle, do what you need to do to create. And while there's some beauty in this, and what we're really talking about is the alchemy. This is the primer material that some of us have to work with. The really deep conditioning of the world that we live in at the moment, where there is a lot of foundational pieces that are out of alignment with the natural pace of a human or the natural pace of nature. And so when we're doing the work, there's a consideration of what foundations are we doing it upon. We see a lot of people looking for optimization and improvement and always growth and always growing and always improving. And a lot of this stems from that same Western mindset, which is about, okay, how much can I um, do? How much can I get? How much can I achieve? And there's this real striving, which in itself is beautiful. And I'm not talking about getting rid of this completely. I'm just talking about becoming aware of it so we can have a healthier relationship because we want to be able to shift these underlying foundations to something that can actually serve us. When we look at the human body, I see that as a microcosm of the macrocosm of the world. Like, the makeup of water in the body is generally about the same of makeup and water of the world. And like, if we were to really drop deep into that for a moment, like, that's wild. This world has the same makeup as us. And that is wild that it reflects so deeply. And we can take that into the cosmos and there's the Hermetic principle, so above, so below. And it speaks about that, as fins grow or expand, that they generally have a reflection or a mirror. And if we look at, say, the middle world of the physical world, the upper world of like higher dimensions will reflect that in some fundamental ways. And we can begin to see that in the reflection of the human body and the world. But when we consider the human body, what you will see is that there's only one cell that cares about growth more than anything else, and that's a cancer cell. It only cares about growth. It's like, how can I duplicate? And the reason why it's doing that is trying to survive. It wants to survive, and it's trying to survive, so it's growing more and more and more, because if it believes that if it does it enough, it will actually survive. But in that doing it, it's killing the host. So what are we seeing in the world right now? We're seeing a lot of people that believe they need more and more and more and more and more and more. And there's this constant striving, this constant pushing, and a dysregulation, and a lot of people stuck in survival where they're living week by week. There's never enough. They don't have the resources they need. And this isn't a judgment, it's awareness, because I know that situation. I've been there. And it's hard. It's really hard. But we're looking at that as a macrocosm of like, okay, what's happening within the collective right now, and what's happening in this world of like spirituality and the work that we're doing, and how can we come into a deeper alignment of our connection to nature and the uh cycles of nature as well. Because for me, when I align with that, I'm aligning with a natural rhythm that is inbuilt, and there's times for growth, there's times for death. And this is what isn't honored in a lot of that mindset, where you're constant optimization. There's a very high strung energy where it's like, if I can do more, if I can optimize myself more, or do better and do better, I can fix myself, or I can change myself, I can make myself feel okay all the time. And there's this obsession with trying to be okay, or trying to be good enough, or trying to have everything sorted out. And there's a lot of shame if that isn't the case. It's like, well, if you don't have everything together, if you're not in a good financial situation, if you're struggling with something, if your mental health or your spiritual health or something isn't okay, clearly there's something wrong with you. And it's like, whoa, like we're blaming the individual right there. Like, really just check in with yourself if you're like, well, clearly this is on me. And this isn't to take responsibility away from you. I believe that, we're the only ones that can create change for ourselves, and we must be the ones who do something about it. But there's this acknowledgement right now that the world isn't set up for humans. It's set up for a more machine orientated human who's very disconnected from their feelings. And as you begin to connect more and become more attuned to yourself, you'll notice that, a lot of the world, the fast pacedness, the stimulation for coming from information, the excess of that, and how dominant it is, isn't really healthy for us. And so when we begin to acknowledge it, it's like, okay, yeah, right. Maybe there's nothing wrong with me. Maybe society and culture isn't set up for me. And I need to acknowledge that so I can actually let go of this belief there's something wrong with me. And this is like, again, where a lot of the Western mindset comes from. It's like, clearly there's something wrong with me. Clearly, because I'm feeling bad, or I'm having this issue or something like this, I'm not doing everything right. Clearly, I've done something wrong, and there's a lot of blaming of the self. And there's this recognition that that comes from the control. There's a story that if I do everything right, and I know this one because I've had it, if I do everything right and I tick all the boxes, life is going to give me what I want. And it's like, while there's some truth in that, if you do like play by the rules and you do the hard work and all of that, you can create some pretty beautiful things. But you're also living in alignment with someone else's box rather than your own. And that's not going to serve you. It's not going to work for you, because you're being asked to be truly yourself. And so we want to unravel that box and be like, okay, like, yes, you can do it that way, but what's another way you can do it where you're not trying to put yourself in that box, and you can actually be free, where you can be the sense of who you are? Because this is for me, is the real work. I don't want to optimize myself for a system that isn't in alignment with who I am. And this is what a lot of people are doing. If you've looked at Tim Ferriss lately, or Alex Hormozy with his interview with Tony Robbins, you would have seen that he spoke about his business has nothing to do with um, happiness, and he only does it because what else is he going to do? It's not a good way to be operating. He's an extreme outlier of what's happening within our Western mind, where we think conquest, domination is the way forward, and it's the only thing that's going to give us a sense of meaning and purpose. And so people are needing more and more and more and more because it's actually never enough. And it's like, cool, you can actually create more and more and more, and it be a beautiful thing. But there's this energy that if I can take, and this is one of the underlying principles of the Western mindset of like colonialism, it's like, oh, if I can take that over there, I can get something that I don't have. So it's like there's a lot of taken energy. And while I don't need to go into the history and why this happened, we're living in a day and age where we're looking to either transform that, or a lot of people are going to end up in that same place. And we've got the possibilities now with the technology and the access and like the interconnectedness of social media and all these things, where we can operate in a different way. We can actually alchemize some of those denser energies. And while they served a purpose. If you're familiar with spiral dynamics, where there's an evolution of consciousness, they served in an element of that. We're looking to go beyond that so we can actually have a more harmonious way of being. Like for me, that's what I want to see, a more harmonious world that's more connected to itself, more connected to nature, and where people don't have to hurt themselves or hurt those around them as much to enjoy life. It's like when we're in that constant hustle, in that rush, we're not connected to ourselves. It takes a lot of work to actually bring presence to what we're experiencing. And if you're disconnected constantly in a rush, constant stimulation, it's really hard to pause and ask yourself, hey, what's happening for me right now? What's really going on? And when that's all we know, there's a safety in the, oh, this is familiar for me. There's a safety in the dysregulation. And it's like, this is all I know. And if I slow down, and this is what a lot of people can experience as they begin to drop deeper beneath the surface, it's like, oh, I don't know what this is. It feels unfamiliar. This feels unsafe. And so what they do is they stimulate themselves, and these are my patterns as well. They stimulate themselves to avoid the uncomfortability of a regulated or a down-regulated nervous system. We don't experience that a lot. A lot of people don't experience that a lot because there's constant phone messages, there's email, there's all these to-do lists, there's money to be made, rent to pay. And it's like there's a lot that we have to deal with in this modern world to keep up with it, because it is also moving fast. And these are the things that, I'm bringing the conversation to, because we first need to bring awareness to it. And there's so many people I talk to, and there's like, clearly there's something wrong with me. And I'm like, okay, maybe there is some trauma and some pain and some unprocessed emotions because of the hyperstimulation and like the inability of much of our culture to actually see people and appreciate their pain and meet them in that. It also comes a big part because we're in a culture that isn't supportive for the human. It's very disconnected in so many ways. And so when we're looking at this, these are some of the underlying foundations that we must really begin to consider. Because are we just doing this work so that you can be more performative in the system that is already disconnecting you from your own soul, from your own being? Because if you are, that's going to be a serious problem. It's not going to work for you in the long term. Sure, you might get 20 years out of it. And then you'll be like, oh, why am I still feeling the same way? Well, for me, it misses a foundational piece that our soul is calling to us to be more alive, be more connected to ourselves, and share more of ourselves within this world. And if we're not doing that, if we're, using these tools, these technologies of like breath work, meditation, all of this to feel okay within the disconnect. It's like, oh, I have these moments where I'm really connected to myself, and then I do a job that disconnects me. And it's like I come back to that and then I'm okay, and then I go back. It's like, okay, maybe you need a stage of that. But for me, I want to shift reality so it's into a deeper alignment and deeper connection to myself as much as possible. And I believe if you're listening to this, you're desiring the same. You're wanting to come into connection with yourself and feel connected to yourself regardless of what's happening in the world, and just following that thread of what you're here to do. And this takes actually stopping, because if you're in that, like a lot of people call it the rat race, the hustle culture, if you're in that, it's like cool, you get caught up into it, and it's really powerful to take some intentional time to step away and see what under the surface is fueling you. Are you doing this because you deeply desire to do it? Are you like, yeah, I really want that fin? Are you doing it because you choose that? Or are you doing it because you feel there's no other way and this is what you must do? It's like right now, I'm creating a podcast every week. I'm doing my coaching business. I've got other things happening outside of this. And it's like, there is a lot that I'm creating right now. And I'm choosing that because I want to create this. I want to serve people in this way. I want to share this message and this voice. And it's like, okay, I know it's all the system. And that's okay. It's okay to choose to be in the system and go to work and do the things you need to survive and choose that. But it's awareness of like, where are you choosing from? And this is the deeper strategy that we're looking to unpack. There's we can't be doing this from fear, which is the no choice. It's a trap. It's the like, I have no other way. There's no other possibilities here. I don't know what else to do. It's like, okay, yeah. And it's like, you can be doing the same thing. Like, I could be doing this from different energies, and that it changes the outcome. I could be doing this because I'm like, oh, I feel like I've got to release a podcast every week because that's just how you grow a business. And, then I can have the reach, and then I can get the clients and I can make the money, and then I can survive. And it's like, that's a really, like for me, a gross energy to think about operating this from. I do this because I fucking love it and I want to create and I want to share a voice and I want to share a message. And it's like, I'm creating for creation's sake. I'm creating because that there's a part of my soul that's like, you got to do this. You have to share. You've got to speak. You've got to bring yourself to the people, and you've got to share your message. And it's like, cool. If you're operating from that energy, you're going to feel it. People are going to feel it. Like season 3 of the podcast, I've got the most feedback that I've ever got in this podcast. And it's like, I haven't been doing this. I think this is the 7th episode of season 3. And it's like people are mentioning it to me. They're telling me how much more they love it, or how it's landing, or how clean it feels. And it's like, that's fucking delicious to receive and continue to fuel this podcast. And it's because I've been unpacking these deeper layers in myself. In the past, there was this attempt to try and get something from this podcast. I would get guests on because there was like, oh, if I have them on, it's like, yes, I wanted the conversation. And there was also like, oh, I could get more reach and I could get more people on this. And there was a taken energy, which is completely okay. But at the moment, it's not where I want to operate from. It's like, no, I want to give, I want to offer something, I want to add richness to this world. And that's part of the deconstruction. It's like, in the past, me was like, there's not enough. I need to take, I need, because there was an element of scarcity. It's like, oh, there's not going to be enough money and I'm not going to be able to survive next week if I don't make some money. And it's like, underneath it, even when like money was completely fine, there was this survival instinct visible within my own system that I could see, but I didn't know how to meet. And so it propagated this idea that I need to take. And it didn't allow me the gratitude and the deep joy of like service and like the freedom of speaking and sharing. It's like I loved what I created, and I still believe I created some beautiful things. And I'm so thankful to Dean because it was an inspired thing I wanted to create. And I can look back and I can see, oh, there was an element of myself that was in survival and I hadn't known how to meet it. And that's okay. And we all have that. It's like as we go up through the levels of awareness, and this isn't like a hierarchical thing where it's like, oh, now I'm this level, look how fucking enlightened I am. It's like, I've caught myself doing that at times, and it's like, laugh at yourself. You need to laugh at yourself to enjoy this path. And it's like, okay, acknowledge all of that. Acknowledge that and be like, cool, what do I need to unpack? That was a big one for me, the survival. It's like, oh, I'm just trying to survive and I need to do this to do all the things. And this is what everyone else does in business. And it's like, oh, it lacks the inspiration. So when we're doing it, it's like, asking yourself these questions. Why am I doing this? Why do I want this thing? Is it so I can get something? And that's not bad in itself. Like, own what you want. And it's like, really own that, because it's like, I do want to create a massive podcast that educates people, that inspires people, that helps them open up and awaken and, share their beautiful hearts with this world. I want all of that. And I want to grow a business that serves and supports people, and I desire to make money and feel supported by my business and it to be flowing and easeful and graceful, and there's deep work and fucking incredible people I'm serving. I want all of that. And I'm creating because it's like, I want to offer this. And there's a quote I've really um love, Gospel of Thomas. It goes along the lines, and I'm probably going to just paraphrase this. If um Oh, it's like, that feeling on the tip of your tongue. I've been channeling so much. It's right there. It's like, um, if you give what you're asked to in this life, it will save you. If you do not, it will destroy you. And there's an element of that with each of us. Like, a lot of us are trying to get something from some of our most beautiful gifts. And in that, we can distort them. It's like, oh, I'm only going to give this if I get something in return. I'm only going to love this person if they love me back. I'm only going to like share my heart with this person if they share it back. I'm only going to offer this gesture of kindness if it means I get something in return. And there's all these covert contracts which says I need something in return. But it is stuck in a scarcity based consciousness, which is a lot of the Western world. It's like, oh, there's not enough. There's never enough. I need to take. And it's like, hey, hold on. Hold on. Is that actually true? Like, and going back to nature, it's like there's so much available in nature. If you need to see the abundance, go out, watch the bird life, watch how nature provides for itself, watch how different trees feed different trees, how animals feed one another, whether that's predator and prey or just supporting one another. Like, there's so much abundance all around, and we need to program ourselves. And I say program because we've been programmed in a different way where there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of survival and there's a lot of scarcity. And it's like, these are the deconstructions. We're being asked in this transition in the human world right now to look at the deeper foundations, like going back to a lot of what we've seen in the world right now, like war and, the different elements that have been play. A lot of them have been built on elements of survival, scarcity, and fear. And so there's an element where we're being asked to look at that within ourselves. Where am I still in scarcity? Where am I being like in fear of there's not enough, or I'm not going to get what I want, or, all these elements where we're trying to control. So we go into a place of survival, and like, if I can control this, which is for most people coming from survival. It's like, when you're trying to control, underneath it is an element of yourself that's feeling really unsafe. You're not in trust. You're not in faith that this is being created around you, that you are on path, that you are moving towards where you need to go. It's a very different energy that operates when you're coming from faith and trust rather than fear and survival. Like, just feel that there's one that feels very contracting and it's like limiting. It's like, okay, I need to control and I need to make sure this happens so this can happen. And this doesn't like allow you. And this is something that can be big, of like the spiritual bypass. I'm just going to have trust, so I'm not going to do anything. Everything's going to be all working out. And it's like, cool, maybe. But maybe you're also being asked to do something. Like, if you are an instrument of God or source or spirit or however you want to do it, it's like, there's a reason you exist. And you're being asked to step into that. Maybe it's to share your heart or share your message or like just be kind. But there's something you're here for. And when we deny that and just stay in this place of like, oh, I'm just going to trust it's going to happen. But there's a actual distortion of that trust where it's like a disconnect of what you're here to do. It doesn't work, because you're not doing the other element, which is action. And that's not a word that we're talking about the deconstruction of the Western mind here, which is really, really beautiful. And a big element of that Western mind is action. It's like doing something. And this is where the pendulum swing can go too far. People will be like, oh, well, I need to do nothing now. And I just need to like sit back and relax and read a book and never do anything. And it's like, is that actually going to create the world we want to create? It's like we've had that. We've had the hippies in the 70s and the 60s do that. And it's like beautiful. I love that. It created a lot of openness. But what happened for a lot of those individuals, they swung back into the mainstream because they didn't know how to integrate both lives. They didn't know how to bring that back into their everyday. So they reverted to what they did. They didn't actually integrate the experience. And so those of us in this world right now, if we actually want to create a different world, it involves both the unpacking of those deeper conditions and the integration of them, and then the action from that place. It's like without me sharing this podcast, it's not going to impact the people that it needs to impact, and they're not going to receive this message. It's not going to grow my podcast. If I just stayed in trust and faith that it'll happen one day, it's like, no, I'm in my car in not the ideal situation, so I can create and share this and continue to stay committed to what I'm here to do. And these are the things that all of us are needing to be considered. What's the action that we are being asked to take to create what we're here to create? Without this, there's got to be a disconnect, and it's just got to be a bit fairy, like a bit whimsy, not in a good way. It's just going to be like, oh, a bit floaty. Floaty's the word I'm looking for, because we're being asked to actually be sincere in our devotion to what we're here to create and what we're here to hold. And that may at times may mean we need to get uncomfortable, where we need to go in and be like, here, I'm here to take action. I'm actually going to have to hustle right now. I'm going to have to use this energy that I've like disconnected from, because there's something I want to create and I know it's important for the world. And these are the nuances that we need to consider. A lot of people are wanting the right and the wrong. This is going into the duality. And again, a big part of the Western mind is coming from a Christianity mindset where there was a right way, a wrong way, like the God or the devil. And it's like, since that, it's created a very dualistic approach to a lot of people in this. So it's like, okay, what's the right thing to do and what's the wrong thing? So then we have a very clear choice. But the world operates in a lot more nuanced, and as we evolve and we mature, we're asked to hold more and more complexity. It's like when you go out into a forest, it's like you'll see different uh, bushes, trees, like ground crawlers, like all these things existing at once. And it's like there's not really a right or a wrong way for a tree to grow. There's ways that can support it and help it grow in a better way. But if you're trying to look like for the exact right way, it doesn't really exist. As alignment in your own being, and like you can be out of alignment or in alignment, and yet how that can show up can differ to this exact perfection. It's like we are being asked to let go of that so we can embrace more elements of life. And going back to the Christianity, a big part of that's been the disconnect from the feminine elements, which is like if you go into the Vedas and the like Hindu tradition, it's like all of life is the feminine. Like a lot of people think feminine's just the emotion, but if you go into the Vedas, it's like actually all of life is a feminine, and the masculine is just in witness. So our beings, our existence is in the feminine, and our like witnessing of that is the masculine. And it's like, can you just be in witness to it, but can you be allowing it all as well? And I know this is going on some tangents right now, but it's all relevant to this, because we really want to deconstruct here. We want to deconstruct. And if you're familiar with the tarot, this is equivalent to the tower moment. And when I speak about the dark night of the soul or depression or a moment of extreme hardship, what that is on a soul level is the deconstruction of a lot of the rigidity in the walls that are happening. It's like the soul knows something needs to really significantly shift. So it pushes a person into the dark and makes them fall apart on one level. It makes them shift and like being like, hey, the way you're doing it isn't exactly working. You need to change a few things, boy. And it's like, oh, that's the tower moment. It's the crumbling of the old reality. And a lot of people may not get to this point because it's really uncomfortable, or they may double down on what they're doing to actually stay in the old conditions. It's like, oh, I'm feeling, you know, dysregulated, so I'm going to stay in, do more of my practices and go to commit to them more and discipline more. And it's like there's a time and a place for this. And this is the thing. I can't give a black and white answer. This is the way and this is what you need to do. There's nuance here and attunement, because that what it takes to be attuned to ourselves and our own souls and our own feminine and our own nature. It's like some days you got to get up and need to meditate and be disciplined and structured. There's other days where you just need to throw it out the window and go with the flow. And you're going to have to figure out what those days are. And you're going to have to figure out when you're avoiding. Like, if you're like, cool, I've got a vision and I need to commit to it and I need to like do some things right now and I need to build it. And you're going to need to know when it's time to actually do that and be like, cool, I need to commit. And when you feel a resistance of, oh, I don't have to do it today. And maybe that's true. Or maybe you're just using that as an excuse. And then other times it might be like, no, you actually need to go give yourself a day and take a step away. This is the nuance that we're being asked to hold. Like, if we look around, even on the internet or social media, there's a vast complexity of life right now. And too many people are looking for the right or the wrong of it, which isn't going to work, because you're being asked to actually expand beyond that and hold complexity. Hold the complexity of yourself, where it's like you may want two opposing things. You may want the deep freedom of the open wild, and then you want the safety of a home. And it's like, oh, can you hold that in yourself? Can you hold the complexity of your own being and all you desire, instead of going into this dualistic approach where it's like this or that? And this is some of the breaking down that needs to occur for you to really tap into what you're here to do. Because when you're in that dualistic, it's like, I've known so many people and I've been one of them. It's like, I can either be spiritual or a business person. And it's like, I can either have money or I can have like a good heart. And it's like there's a duality I've created because of certain conditioning, like money's bad, business isn't spiritual, which is all conditioning. It's all made up. Like, that's actually not true. Like, I can do so much good when I have money. I can do so much good and be spiritual when I have a business. It's one of the most spiritual things I find. It's like, how can I bring more of myself online and share more of myself and connect to people and serve them and devote to them and devote to this work and get out of my own way and my own ego of wanting it the right way and let go and allow. And like, there's so much here that is teaching me. And if I stayed in that this is the right way or this is the wrong way, it's not really going to work. So, what I really want to encourage you all that's listened to this is like, really begin to unpack the deeper layers. Where is your self optimization coming from? Where is your spirituality coming from? Where is like all these need to do these certain things actually coming from? Because if it's like, I need to be spiritual to like be spiritual, it's like, is that true? Maybe you don't. Like, some people's spirituality is a motorbike, others it's a time in nature, and there's different frequencies and elements. But stop trying to do it the right way and begin to get attuned to what's happening for you. Get to know your experience and see what is true for you. Does something work? Does something not work? Does something feel like it needs to be cut away? And this involves listening, which the Western world, we're not the greatest at. It involves slowing down, taking a breath, and actually listening. Is this working for me? Am I feeling more connected to myself? Am I more attuned to what's happening around me? Am I more present in my life? Do I feel more of what's happening in my body? Is my heart more open? Is my mind more expanded? Do I believe in more possibility? Or do I feel more constricted, limited, like another box have been put in? Because some of these are going to tell you where you're operating from. What's the foundation of your relationship to life? And that's what we're really talking about here, like the relationship to life and what the foundation is built upon. And this is why so many people revert to a lot of like traditional lineages, such as like the Lakota or the Peruvian, the Chilean, like um, the indigenous traditions that are still alive in this world, because they still have a connection to land, and that means they have a different relationship to life. A lot of us have become disconnected from home and culture at some level, so when we return to these cultures because they hold an energy of like belonging to this world, which for many people they can lack. It's like, I don't belong. I feel like a foreigner. I don't belong in this country or city or town or place. I feel like I'm from some different dimension or different reality. It's like, maybe that's true and maybe an element, or, you can go into the star seeds and all of that, but maybe you've just never felt safe in this reality, in this human experience, because you haven't been given the blueprint and the frequency to learn that from people who are still connected to the land. And that's a really big thing. It's like so many of us can feel hyper vigilant or unsafe. And it's like, oh, how much of that just stems from a disconnect from the earth, from the environment, from the ecosystem, from believing that life is a dangerous place, from believing that life is here to harm us. And it's like, even a lot of our psychology is built upon these foundations, like especially when you're doing this work, and psychology as a whole has come from the Western world, which comes from a diagnosis and a pathologizing of the human condition and says this is what is wrong with you and this is why. It's like, is that actually true? And how much of that is creating more pain and more trauma of like, well, when we start judging our parents for what they did, and like these are the reasons that they caused us pain, which many are valid, and like there's a point where we need to acknowledge them, but also how much of that pathologizing is creating more pain of like, well, I should have had a different experience, and then the resentful child comes in, and we feel more justified because we have a higher levels of awareness, but we haven't actually embodied more like compassion and appreciation and gratitude for what was given alongside of that. So we become a very narcissistic lived experience, because it's like, well, you weren't perfect and you should have been. And then we judge ourselves for the ways we weren't perfect. And we go down this role of like, well, maybe I could be perfect, then there would be no pain and I wouldn't cause anyone else pain. And yet that would rob us of the complexity of this human experience. And I don't think personally that's what we're here to do. I think we're here to have a very livid and vivid human experience that deals with complexity, deals with nuance, deals with a range of emotions. And the more we can come to understand that and be in relationship to that and go beyond a lot of the boxes that the Western world is trying to put us in right now, the more open and expansive we can be, and the more connected to life we can be. And for me, that is one of the ultimate goals of being connected to this life, being in this world, sharing with this world, and sharing deeply with the people around me, where it's like, oh, I can feel you, and I can connect with your depth, and I can relate to you and have intimacy with you and with life in that moment. And that can be simple. It doesn't have to be complex. And it's like, oh, we're really changing and rewiring a lot of foundational pieces right now that is so deeply needed. And if it's like you're seeing a lot in the world right now and it feels like chaos, it's like, no, that in the tumultuous nature of it all, we're being recentered and regrounded, and we're being invited into a different frequency and a different way of relating to this world. And just continuing to hold that prayer that, we are creating something more beautiful. And we get to do that with love and an open heart and intention of the beauty and the wonder of this world, because there is so much, and this world gets to be so rich with experience, with love, with connection and grace. And if you're struggling and you're suffering, I want to acknowledge that really, really deeply, because I understand how hard that can be and how heavy that can be. and also just invite you to open to this possibility that there can be a different way for you to relate to this world, a different way for you to exist in this world, and a different way for you to be. And just really opening that idea of what could that look like? Like, can you, for a moment, actually believe what it would be like to live in this world without suffering? Can you believe that you don't deserve suffering, that you can receive grace and abundance and beauty? And I had this conversation with a man the other day who was sharing a similar journey he was on, and I could track the part of me. It's like, oh, I still must suffer. And I don't believe that's healthy, that we must suffer. And I believe there's been a corruption of a lot of spiritual teachings that have taught us that, whether that's in Buddhism, like that the Buddha said, life is suffering. And while I agree in some of that sentiment, I believe a lot of that can be distorted to justify the suffering that a lot of people are in right now and allow themselves to stay in the dark. And I don't believe that's necessary. Yes, there can be darkness. Yes, there is darkness. Yes, there is suffering. And yet, to live there and primarily live there is not the way. And we get to actually do this life with beauty and grace and an open heart and just this invitation. And even if you can't meet that, can you meet the part of you that doesn't believe that and just acknowledge them right now? Because maybe that's what's needed right now of like, oh, I don't believe that yet. And if you're in that place, what would it be like to go on that journey towards that, where it's like, I could believe in something different. I could believe in a new way. I could believe in a more beautiful way that feels connected to myself, connected to this world. And for us wayfinders and us visionaries, this is the prayer that we're being asked to hold right now in a world that would be disconnected. It's like if you're holding the light, if you're holding the vision for a more connected world and you're feeling the grief, no, I feel you and I see you. And just this acknowledgement that, like, this is what we're being asked to do because the world really needs you right now and needs you to share your light and your truth and what you're here to hold. And this vision that this world can be more connected, it can be more deeply intertwined, and it can bring us back to our own collective humanity. And no longer do we have to suffer as so many of us believed we do. So, weird ways. There's a prayer in there. There's a prayer in this whole episode. And there's this invitation to really deconstruct the levels of reality that aren't in service to you, aren't in service to what you're here to be and what you're here to hold. And just knowing that you get to come home to who you truly are, and that's the greatest adventure you can go on. And it may mean letting go of so much of what you thought you had to be and who you thought you had to be and the success you thought you had to have or the materialism that you thought you had to have. You can all have that if that's true for you, but just this knowing that the deepest and most beautiful and profound journey you can go on is the journey into your own heart and the journey to connect to who you're here to be and find that in the deep places of your being. And without that, everything will feel that lackluster, that empty. And so is my prayer for you, that you allow yourself to have that. You allow yourself to surrender what isn't in service to you so that you can be true to your own heart and meet yourself along this way. Weird ways. It's been beautiful to be back. If this has landed anything, please share with me. Please share this podcast, allow it to continue to propagate and seed this transmission across the world and across, like, to whoever needs to hear this, because we can all need things like this at times. And if this podcast can just reach another person who needs to hear this, yeah, there'll be such gratitude there for myself and for this message. So for those of you that are sharing this, for those of you that have already like told me how much it's been landing, thank you. And I know I've thanked you a lot, but there's just such gratitude in my heart and continuing to be such gratitude. So thank you all. It's been a pleasure to be back. I'll see you next week.